Lovely. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to NIKK on Live. Today, I'm joined by some beautiful young ladies who are going to be, helping me discuss this whole topic of, women empowerment, women's development, especially when it comes to leadership at this level. As I said, my name is Nick, candidate for Guild President, and I'm joined by Jamila and I'm joined by Rhoda. As it pertains to my plans as Guild President, you guys would have seen I had sections dedicated specifically toward women development, women's empowerment. I think that having an institution such as the Guild that understands the importance of women, especially in leadership, it goes a long way, not just in terms of the sustainability, but also increases productivity of the Guild or any organization. So
Firstly, you want to think about the nature of women. So we tend to be a lot more caring. That's just us naturally. So once you have women on the guild, men, they tend to like to get things done. But at the end of the day, you kind of want to be caring. You want to reach out to people and kind of understand.
Women, we fall into the minority. It could be any boardroom, especially in leadership positions. We somehow have to fight for a seat at the table, even in Myanmar's country, where we have our first female prime minister, our first female president. So I think it's incredibly important that our future guild president has women in the forefront.
we are here to talk about women and empowerment, and I think that going forward as a guild, as a campus, we need to be able to empower our women, not just women who are in leadership positions, but even the students of the KFO campus. The females need to feel empowered, whether this is through the promotion and the upholding of different policies that allow for them to feel safe and secure on campus, and also implementing initiatives that really indeed help with their development. What would giving you that drive, that motivation to be involved at this level, to do what you do?
Right, so I was involved in student leadership from as early as secondary school.
So like Jamila, I also started from when I was in high school.
One of the initiatives I have is to provide certain forms of welfare packages for women. And I would have mentioned that, Auntie Mia, she came out and she would have made a huge statement that really, I smiled. These items are not just expensive in Barbados. For those who don't know, there's actually something called menstrual poverty. And menstrual poverty is when persons don't have the access to these items that we would have here. And even though in Barbados, we may have access to these items, they are very costly. In the planning of my campaign and everything, that the Prime Minister herself, her cabinet would have understood the importance of, making these items, not just, menstrual items, but given that that's the focus of, part of my campaign, making those accessible to women.
Yes, I think this is super, super important because even for example, at my campus, I am the deputy hall chair for my current hall, and the deputy hall chair for the Mary Seco Hall, which is an all-girl hall. She had somewhat of an initiative where she just had simple care packages, and what we did was we got a bunch of them and simple just went on the girls' flat, we knocked on the door, and we gave it to them. And they were so grateful for it. There was even some persons like, mine just started today and I didn't even feel the strength to go out and probably go and pick up one, then go into the shop and getting it while you're in so much pain. I think it's so important for us to just do these things for them.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that was said. I think it has to start somewhere. So I don't know when that initiative will be implemented, but I think your recommendations are good, Nick, and I think small changes are still changes. Small progress is still progress. So I think it's a good initiative.
Those students who, let's say, live on halls, those who live off campus are not necessarily Bajan, who may have to, get money sent in from overseas. That Barbados cost of living is not, it's not fun at all. And those persons having to, supply those items every month, I think it takes a huge burden off of them, knowing that there's initiatives here that is indeed able to help them.
Even locals, women in general have this issue, and I believe that Rhonda can agree with me. If you are in a predicament around your time of month, it's so humiliating if you don't have the resources that you need to sort yourself out. So you'll be uncomfortable in class, you're being comfortable in the library, and you're being comfortable asking persons to provide you with resources in order to make yourself comfortable. So I think what the girl is doing in a discreet manner is very empowering, because for me, even as a professional in the boardroom, that's something that you may not always remember to work with. So I think having a place on campus where people can get access to those resources is absolutely empowering.
I also want to look at campuses, their policy on sexual harassment and that type of thing. And I think as a guild, we have to get to the point where, regardless if it is student, if it is a counselor, those who are, found in breach of such policy, I don't want to say be held to the highest level of the law, Jamila, as a law student, but you understand what I mean. These things are serious, and they're not just serious as it pertains to women, even though that's the focus here, but it's serious in terms of having a safe campus. Because imagine, let's say, a parent who's thinking about sending their child to the KFO campus. They're hearing of reports of certain actions, and then there's nothing being done on the part of the guild to stamp out this, or on the part of the campus. Then they're least likely to send their child there, because it's like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen to you when you're here, so let's find some place where I can guarantee that you'll be safe. And it goes back to the whole empowerment and ensuring the development. If you can provide a safe place for persons to be able to commute, to learn, to experience things, it goes a long way in development. And the policy must be upheld, especially for our women.
Yeah, I think I'm the HR manager, so sexual harassment is very big for me in the workplace. So I do agree with you, Nick. If you've presented yourself as a notable candidate, so I do think sexual harassment on campus is very important, not just from student to student, but there may be instances where persons in authority may be doing so to gain favors with students as well.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned persons in authority as well, because at the end of the day, we're not just a campus where we come, get our degree and leave. We're developing persons. So these are persons we are pushing out into the work world. And to essentially have a safer country and region, because we tend to have persons from all over the region. You want to make sure certain rules are in place, so you have persons in the mindset that, hey, this is wrong, I'm not supposed to be doing it, whether it's a male or a female. So such policies are super important.
I think it also speaks to the standards, not just the standards, but the ideals of the guild council as well. If you have a guild council who's led by some person, hopefully myself in next year, who has a no tolerance policy toward this type of behavior, it goes a long way, because students can be sure that if a situation presents itself, that an action or the lack thereof is done on the part of a student, as you would have mentioned, some person, I don't want to say a lecturer or administration, that type of thing, they know that they can be held accountable. They know for sure that the guild is not tolerating this. There are going to be investigations, not just investigations, but the guild is going to act in a way that is best for the students. They can be rest assured that this policy indeed will be upheld. An organization that recently started called the Leadership Institute. He's very keen in working with myself and the new guild, if I'm elected, to ensure that there is a continued empowerment of women. I think all students can benefit from partnerships of this magnitude.
To all the ladies that are here on the live, basically, I just want everyone to know that you have a voice, and there are people that are out there who would listen to you. For example, Nikhil is so on the point of empowering women. So this is a man that's pushing to be at the front, leading a body, but at the end of the day, he's making sure that all women voices are heard, that their health are put forward. He wants to do policies that refrain from sexual harassment.
And I think what Mr. Willoughby is trying to achieve is way outside of his scope as guild president, and his legacy will last for a very long time. I think a safe studying environment for all at KFIL is what we all want from our campus. I think the safety of women and the promotion of women in leadership opportunities, I think this is something that's very aspirational, and that's why I was so supportive of him. He took some time on my midterms preparation to do this live tonight, because I believe in the movement that he's trying to achieve, and I believe that 100% female students should rally behind Mr. Willoughby, who has our best interests at heart.
Thanks for those words, guys. Before we wrap up, one of my mandates, or the key mandate, would have been transformative student-centered leadership. And, I was telling someone today, I think that we must indeed place the students of the KFO campus back at the forefront of the Guild. And it is imperative, along with all these policies and along with all these initiatives that indeed impact and improve women's health and their development. I believe that as students of the KFO campus, there's a duty on the part of the Guild to ensure that not only their voices are heard, but their needs are met. And I spoke about transformative student-centered leadership because, and Jamila would have probably heard me say this 1,000 times over the campaign trail, the Guild will only mean more to the students if the students mean more to the Guild. And simply put, they have to be the focus of the Guild. And initiatives like this, implementing policies that, well, not just implementing, but upholding and promoting and just ensuring that these policies are followed. Not just that, providing these packages for our women on campus go a long way to ensuring that the students remain the focus. I know the gentlemen may be saying, hey, what about us? May probably like a little Ralph Lauren perfume or something. But at the same time, we understand, however, that these are issues that women face daily. And as someone said earlier in the light, this is something that happens every month. And you think to yourself that because this happens every month, this is something that would have been, I don't want to say dealt with ages ago, but dealt with ages ago. I know recently in the international sphere, there have been talk about, making these things free and that type of thing to help ease this idea, as I mentioned, of menstrual poverty. And I think persons don't understand how practical menstrual poverty can be, not just as a student, but in Barbados. Jamila, we would have seen the budget being, released, and there's a lot of talk on social media about, middle class income and all that type of thing. And we hear persons, they're crying out about prices and that type of thing. And then imagine those who aren't able to procure the items that they would need to indeed better their health. So I think that along with transformative leadership and student-centered leadership, not just putting the students first, but their needs first. And I think that the females of the KFO campus would indeed benefit from these initiatives, especially the one that ensures their health, promotes the development of their department. So before we close, any final words from our young ladies on the live?
I'm not a young lady, I'm an older lady, but I would say for me, I vote or I exercise my franchise as a student of me because I need to see change. I need to see not just talk on these pretty mandates and these pretty posters. I am an action-oriented leader myself. So I look for a leader who just doesn't have mandates, but someone who can implement the mandates that they've brought to me. NIKK has shown that he's innovative. He's not just thinking about how can I get into office, but how can I leave a legacy that is not only safer for myself, but creates a safer campus for the less vulnerable, which is women, let's be frank. So my final words are, when you go to the polls, whenever that time is, you don't vote for what is trending, don't vote for what looks pretty, but vote for a leader who wants to create a campus that we all can be proud of.
I'm all the way at Mona and I'm feeling NIKK's presence from there. So that's already a good sign. So when you guys do go to the poll, just keep everything in mind. Know what you're voting for. He already put out all his policies, etc. If these are the things that resonate with you and you think this is what our campus needs to change, NIKK is my pick.
He's the pick, we're stronger with NIKK. He's the pick, we're stronger with NIKK. He's the pick, NIKK is the pick. For president, we're stronger with NIKK. He's the pick, we're stronger with NIKK. He's the pick, we're stronger with NIKK. He's the pick, he is the pick. For president.